Hello, everyone. Well, it looks like we are in October. Great time for ghost stories. My favorite time, obviously. Tonight's story is called The Monster and the Creature. And let's begin. The Monster and the Creature. The thunder came not a second after the silent shriek of the lightning that rushed in with blinding exclamation, as if to show them the moment they had found in their colliding sorrows. The violence startled her at first, but soon she settled back into his arms of quilted flesh and weathered sutures as she felt him unafraid. The lightning was calming to him. It reminded him of the moment he was born. He recalled it with a fondness as one might, the very first kiss bestowed upon their forehead by their mother. His father was science, hubris, and ultimately a disgust which his father felt at his son's very existence. His mother was thunder, lightning, rain, and a will to live anyway. She noticed there was something like that of a baby's calmness came over him when lightning struck. It was different than the strange anxiety he felt at the lighting of her candle in the public house. He looked lost and scared when she slid the votive over to him. The patrons all scooted away. Nary a man whistled at her that evening. It was as though the hooded patron in the corner had stolen the oxygen for any man who dared to put his lips together for a coarse taunt. They were still stunned from the moment he opened the creaking pub door, stooping in the doorway and cutting the shape of a tower between them and the outside world. Their eyes were so wide that they could not possibly be aware of how they appeared. His boots fell with steady crunches on the sawdust, which bit at the silence they had all so unctuously bequeathed to him. There was cold air that seemed to come with him. It was as though he brought the Arctic into the place. Anyone could feel a shiver as he walked past them on a journey they felt unbearably long as he took his time walking to the dark table in the corner. Everyone wanted to see what face was under that hood, and no one wanted to know it. He'd told her he was a monster well after they had collapsed into her old mattress. She didn't believe it now, else he would have said that sooner, else he would not hold her more tenderly than any of the so-called non-monsters she had had before. He was tender and beastly. He was all things at once with her. She smiled to herself as she held her monster. After a time, he had ready to leave and to step out into the rain. There was a sound of thunder, and he froze and looked out her window. She was surprised to find herself flying to him, catching him in her arms just after she had caught the look of pain in those sad eyes. His defenses were down, racked with a sobbing. He didn't even notice that she had him. It was as though they were one being, the monster and the creature. And his chest was heaving tears up through his eyes, which rained down her shoulders from the thunderclap of a deep loneliness. It could have been the hard tap-taps of the collecting rain leaking into her pots and pans. My poor. She didn't want to call him that. She didn't know how warm she felt after all that Arctic ice. Even now, the memories on that freezing place of crystallized shards and lonely anger brought a shiver. It were as though the memory of those bitter feelings chilled him worse than any plummeting temperature could. The cold was bad enough, but to feel rage or sorrow in the cold, nothing was worse than that. She remembered when she gave him a free ale at the shift's end, and he removed his hood. He remembered the first thing she did was stare into his eyes. She noticed the quilted flesh, stitched, hardened, and scarred all together, and the pigments of different skins made him feel eerily fantastical. Fantastical, she thought, before his hood swallowed him up in the shadows. She remembered how kind his eyes were. She, the creature, could belong to those eyes. He, the monster, could belong in these arms. She felt the electricity. Patchwork, she whispered with her own tears. My poor patchwork. Patchwork. He felt her affection in it, like a warm quilt all around him. He felt alive. Patchwork. You might have to come back sometime. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, please like this video, leave a comment, and check out my Patreon. It's the best place, and a lot of great stuff coming there, including some exclusive videos. Anyway, I'll see you in a fortnight. Patchwork.